Hey guys and girls, it's Nathan Birch here from the B.Invested headquarters, and today I'm talking to you about inflation. For those of you who don't know what inflation is, going back to the early 2000s, you could have bought a paddle pop for about 70 to 80 cents. Now it's going to cost you about $2, $2.20 for a paddle pop. Your purchasing power is getting decreased. People talk about when they went to school. I remember when I was at school, you could buy a red frog for 1 cent each. You know, the little shitty copper coins they give you at the bank. That'll buy you 1 red frog. Nowadays, you get 5 frogs for probably $5. Simply due to the system that we are designed in and we're built in, and the nice roads we have out there, and the nice, political system that people aren't getting injured in every day of the week. So, does it come at a cost? It does come at cost. Managing the economy, I believe, is something that's very big for the governments to have to try and tackle and overcome. And inflation is something, for those of you that are smart, you can really do well out of it. I personally think we're going to see a lot of inflation in our lifetimes, and it's going to get more and more relevant than ever before. My mum is in her mid-70s. The family home we grew up in purchased for about $13,000 about 50 years ago. That was a house and land package in Parramatta of Sydney. Today the home will probably be worth, $1 million, $1.2 million, something like that. At the time, my father was a mechanic, and he was on probably a little bit less of $2,000 a year. Looking at what he was earning at the time, if he was still alive today, he'd probably be earning $80,000 a year or something like that as an average wage. The home's worth $1 mil, 1.2 mil. And from that perspective that has travelled throughout time, things have been inflated away into oblivion. The $13,000 they would have paid for the home, stamp duty would be more than that today. If the place had debt on it, it would probably be able to be paid off within a period of 6 months worth of rent today. And that is the real value of inflation, is things get inflated away, prices get inflated away, and debt gets deflated because you can be paying it off with tomorrow's dollars in something you're picking up in today's economy. Recently did a blog about 2 sisters, hypothetical scenario. You've got Sarah and Louise, and apologies for my atrocious handwriting, but we're going to go and compare the 2 of them together, and I'll do some very blunt numbers as to how this pans out. So if I look over here with Sarah, she had $100,000, as did Louise, $100,000. Sarah decided to go down the safe road and put her money in the bank. If you go to any banking website, you'll see the average rate is about 2% per annum. We'll just make a little percentage there. 2% per annum for a period of 10 years. She would end up with $120,000. Woohoo! She hasn't even caught up with inflation. She hasn't caught up with the fact that you could have bought a Big Mac 10 years ago for $5, $6, a Big Mac meal, now it's $10, $12. Or you could have bought paddle pops for 80 cents to $1, now they're $2 each. Nor does it take in the fact that your money, your insurance, your electrical, every service industry has gone up as well, which you've probably silently been taxed on. I hear a lot of people out there on the everyday street saying how they're feeling poorer and poorer, and they don't know why. And it's because the silent tax that's in this system that we're designed in is inflation, and inflation is the biggest thing that came out of obviously the GFC. If we come over and look at Louise, she decided to be a bit more creative and buy 2 properties for $200,000 in Western Sydney. Those properties there, she would have put down out of $100,000. She would have taken an 80% loan, being conservative as we always are. Ideally, those properties would be worth $250,000, using Nathan's buy below market value, make sure there's upside for growth, and make sure that there's a strong cash flow. These properties would have been things back in the day, $200,000 purchase price worth $250, rent for $300 per week, so all the bills would have been covered. You can still do those deals today if you look in the right places. Looking at the marketplace here, at the scenario here, 80% means that she would have got a total purchase of $400,000, with an 80% would be $320,000 loan. So I'll just put 320K down here, just to keep it flowing nice and well. She would have used 40,000 times 2 for the deposit. $40K plus $40K, plus then $10K plus $10K for the closing costs. So she'd be into it for $100,000. Those properties, if we fast forward to 2017, would be worth between $400 to $500 each, which would give a total figure of $800,000 to $1 million. Now, if Louise was to go back to the start and take out her $320,000 loan, and let's say conservatively they're worth $800K, she would have 800 minus 320, which would be $480K as a net figure. So obviously you've got Sarah over here. She took the nice, easy, simple road. She can't even buy the stuff that she could have bought going back 10 years ago. She did herself a disservice, and for me, I would say that she is a loser with a capital L. If we come over here to Louise, which has a capital L to start a name, she has turned $100,000 into nearly $500,000. And that's using the system that is out there. The system that we're designed in, the money that we have today in our pockets, they may look the same as what we had beforehand, but the whole way that the whole system works is vastly, vastly different. And that's the importance of, building a sustainable property portfolio and having the right assets, whether it be property or anything else, in your portfolio to ensure that that you're keeping up with inflation or being ahead of inflation and trying to remove yourself from the burden of inflation. Why does it happen? The velocity of where the money comes around from one person to the other, we need to print more money constantly. So the system is designed on a debt-based system, which is basically just like a ledger, like a big credit card. The government's on a credit card, the world is on a credit card, the whole system is on a credit card, and ultimately, he who controls the monetary supply controls the people. We're a part of this monetary supply system, and it's something that is inevitable. The money is created from the central banks, used as levers there to control the economy to get certain things to happen. So if we need to pump up this part of the economy, we can lower interest rates. We need to starve the economy off, we can increase interest rates. But the way that the system has been designed, it has been raped and pillaged for way too long. The fiat currencies out there in the world generally have a lifespan of about 40 years in history's sake. The turn of AD, there's been over 10,000 different fiat currencies. A fiat currency is a money which is completely man-made, and every single time it's backed by nothing. Your money, you think it's backed by gold, go out there and do a little bit more research in it. Your money is backed by nothing. It is just your confidence that this, I've got a couple of 50s here. Now I'd rather have toilet paper because I could wipe my ass and not cut myself on it. But these things here, they're just pieces of plastic. Your view of those notes is what that will actually do for you. So you take it to the shop, and the person at the shop has a belief in that money, so they will take that in exchange for the goods or services of what they're providing you. However, I believe that there will be a day where people will lose confidence in that money supply system, and in 1971, the world got hedged to the US dollar as the base currency, and that has been manipulated ever since, without going to, putting a tinfoil hat on or conspiracy theory or whatever. That was really the change of the money. Up until 1971, money was relatively sound money. Since 1971, obviously every 10 years we're seeing bigger and bigger recessions, crashes and stuff like that, and each one is getting bigger and bigger. And the bailouts that are happening out there, the money that's being thrown around by the central banks is getting bigger and bigger. And that's something that in the system you can do really, really well out of it, or you can get yourself really, really hurt and stuffed up in it. So personally, from what I see, is that those that have good plans for tax, understand the system, understand the market that we live in and the system that we live in, those that save will be hurt the most because the money supply that you have has less purchasing ability. Things will be inflated quicker than you can save the money. Those that are too over leveraged or too under leveraged will be heard in this system. Hopefully it gives you a bit of insight as to how inflation is playing its way in today's society, and the reason why I believe that property is a fantastic investment choice and asset to hold is due to the fact that it will be inflated away in any economy. It's the real value. Assets have real value. The money that I just threw all over the floor really has no value, but the belief of you having the value of it is where the value lays. So keep watching, guys. Thanks a lot for your time. We'll catch up soon. Have an awesome day.